time for Westside.Technology Declassified, where we reveal the inner workings of technology operations at District 66. This is episode 12, recorded September 5th, 2017. Matt Lee and Greg Betts are here with me again. Going to be focusing upon other things, a summer recap, some tools and tips, and a book review. Hello,
morning,
gentlemen.
Paul.
How are you today?
Hey, doing great. Good morning, everyone. Good to be back for 17-18 school year and get our podcast going again.
Yes, we've had a lot of things going on with the refresh and a lot of devices in and out of the district and out of people's hands and new devices back into people's hands. So it's been very busy.
Cool. I think let's start off. Greg, I think last week, kind of right before the break, we had a professional development day. Do you want to kind of recap that and tell us kind of what went on and what your thoughts and feelings were about it?
Sure. You mean the professional learning day?
Sorry, yes, the professional learning day.
Yeah. As always, summer, August, and into the first week of September is very busy. I'm out of my office with a lot of professional learning opportunities. And Matt, if you just want to bring up the screen, I'll just go over what we did last Friday. So 4 times a year, oops, I lost you. There it is. So 4 times a year, we have teachers report without students. And our first one was last Friday. And this year, we are having a key focus for every single grade level. Part of this is driven out of our data telling us what we need to work on and further strengthen. And with the budget cuts we've had, we don't have as many opportunities to have subs during the school day. So we've replaced some of those trainings on our professional learning days. So K1 will be working on instructional routines all year for phonemic awareness, fluency, and phonics. 2nd and 3rd grades focusing on math mindset for the teacher. 4th grade will be personalized learning. 5, 6, those teachers are working on text-dependent analysis. This is training that they have already been doing. So the goal is to take them deeper and have good writers and readers in 5th and 6th grade. 7th and 8th grade at the middle school, they're working on the Framework for Teaching by Charlotte Danielson. And 9-12 has a focus this year on PBIS. So just really looking at how do you strengthen that positive behavior, interventions and supports. And Matt, if you scroll down, here's just some pictures from last Friday. That's the elementary slide there. Go to the next one. You'll see there was 4th grade and then the middle school. I believe that's Quinn McGuire and Kim Iman running a session on Domain 3 and then personalized learning there on the left side. And then the last slide here is the high school. They have different breakout sessions working on PBIS. So overall, great day, and things seem to went off without a hitch. So great day of learning.
Excellent, Greg. Hey, with the new refresh, one of the things that was kind of a downside of the refresh with some of the budget cuts was the fact that the new teacher machines actually have smaller hard drives than previous ones. So Matt, do you have a couple tips for the teachers as they might be just challenged a little bit with the reduced hard drive space on their new machines?
Yeah, one of the pieces of feedback that we received, like Paul was saying, is that the space is really limited on the teachers' computers. Fortunately, there is a Google fix for it. So if I come in here and flip over to my computer with my Google Drive, one of the things that I think people do quite often is you make a Word document and you want to get it off your computer and you want to save it on Google Drive. And so I think a lot of people are used to kind of just dragging it over. And then by default, Google will take that Word document and translate it into a Google Doc that's stored on there, which is great. It's awesome for collaboration. It's awesome for saving space, but sometimes you don't want that. Sometimes you want to keep that Word document as a Word document and still be able to work through it on your home computer, on your school computer, be able to take it off of your school computer in order to save space. And fortunately, Google is there to help. So let me show you a cool feature of Google Drive, and it's called versioning with Word documents. And so this is a way to keep multiple versions of a file in sync, all using Google Drive. So the first thing you need to do is you need to, once you log into Drive, come up to the gear and go to Settings. And you want to make sure that this Convert Uploads is not checked. If that's checked, that's going to take your Office documents, PowerPoint, Excel, Word, and convert them to their Google versions, which you might want to do, but in this case, we're not going to, and I'm going to show you why you might not want to. So if I have a Word document here that I've been working on, and it's called My Document, and it's super secret, so I hope nobody screenshots this and shares it with anybody else. But if I have here, and I could say this is a test document that I'm making, look at me type, and I save that, close it out, and I just drag that over. You'll notice that as that's uploading there, you can see that it's uploaded, but it didn't convert it. And you know that because it still has that W there, and it still has the .docx extension, and it has the Office W. So that's a way to keep your files intact if you're uploading them all to Google Drive. Now, if I wanted to work on this file later, so maybe I've deleted it from my computer in order to save some space, I can click on it, and if I hold down Control and click, or just right click if I have a mouse, and click download, then that's going to download that document for me, and I can open it up and everything's there. So now if I make a few changes, maybe I take a screenshot and enter a screenshot into there, and then maybe I type hello world, save that, and then I close out of it. Now, if I take this file and drag it back into my Google Drive, you'll see it's uploading it, but then you'll also see that now it says version 2. And if I look over here, instead of having a long list of every time I've dragged that file over where it says my document 1, my document 2, my document 3, my document 4, instead I just see one file that's shown there, but within that file, there's multiple versions. So I can see how that file has changed over time. And so if I open it up, I can see the most recent version here. I can download it. So if I got rid of my old one and I open this one up and I went back and said, yep, no, I don't want that. I don't want that. We'll save that. And then let me drag this back over. You can see now, and it should pop up and it says, all right, this is version 3 of the file. And this is what it looks like. If I wanted to keep it as a separate file, I always have that option. But in this case, it's kind of nice to be able to just have one file that always stays the most up to date. And so that works with any of the Office formats. So the Word documents, Excel, PowerPoint, those will all work great with that. And so it's a way to use Google Drive to store all your files, keep them off your hard drive, but still be able to keep them in their native format with all of the pictures and the images and not have to worry about converting to Google. So that's just a real quick tip and trick to use Google more effectively to put all of your documents on to save some space.
Thanks, Matt.
Yeah, thanks, Matt.
Hey, as you were showing Word there and doing some fantastic creation of documents with Word, let's think for a second and say you have a computer that is not a school computer, but you have maybe a PC at home or another Mac at home, and you would like to have Office on those computers as well. Well, as Westside students and employees, you have the ability to have Office on your own personally owned computers. So if you go to Area 66, and Matt has called that up there, area66.westside66.org, and with the best search would be to search for Office, Microsoft Office, and it will come up with this screen. We're giving every student and teacher access to Office at no cost, and there are instructions there of where to go on Microsoft's site. And you have to have set up a Microsoft account. And then after that, you can go ahead and download either the Windows version or the Mac version of Office onto your own machines. So it's just really easy. It's free. And Office, if you buy it separately, is what, at least a $150 purchase, is it not, guys?
Yeah, or you have to pay a subscription fee of like $10 a month for the rest of your life.
So it's just a real great benefit and something that we really want people to know about. So share with other people that are staff members. Again, they have to be either a Westside staff member or student. This can't be just, don't promote this to all your friends that don't have anything to do with Westside, because it's really, folks, it'll actually use your Westside email address to check to make sure that you're associated with the district.
So Paul, can you clarify, when you say Westside staff, is that every staff member? Is that just teachers? Is that just administrators? Who qualifies for this?
Everyone. So you could be a nutrition services worker. You can be someone whose only responsibility is keeping the softball field by Westbrook mowed. People who manage the heating and air conditioning system. Anybody in the district that's an employee or a student can have access to this for their home computers.
So as long as they have a Westside email, they
That
can
is
use
correct.
this.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. I think, Paul, I was doing some screenshots earlier when I was kind of demonstrating the office trick, and my desktop was getting kind of cluttered with different screenshots. Do you maybe have a tip for me to help that out and help keep my desktop clean?
Exactly. So if, as a teacher or as a professional developer, you can be creating lots of documentation for students or other teachers. And a lot of times when we do technology documentation, we do screenshots so that we can show people, a real view of what we're working on. And we do the various kinds of screenshots. A lot of times on a Mac, those files will just start piling up on your desktop. And so you can delete them or you can move them somewhere else, but you just don't want to have them piling up on your desktop. Well, there's a new shortcut that I just learned about a few months ago that is really neat. It's Command, which used to be the Apple key. It's the little fan. Command, Control, Shift, 4. And if you hold down those keys, you will actually get a crosshairs on your screen. And if you click and drag, you can screenshot a portion of your screen. And so Matt's going to demonstrate that for you. And when you release, this does not create a file on your desktop. What has happened is that content that you've selected has just gone into the clipboard or the working memory of the computer, and you can just immediately then paste it where you want it. So it's not a huge difference, except that you save multiple steps here in that it goes immediately in your memory. You can paste it right away into the documentation that you're working on. You don't have to go open up the file from your desktop, and then you don't have to clean up that file later and move it to your trash or move it into another folder. So Command, Control, Shift, 4 just eliminates a lot of steps, captures it directly into memory, allows you to paste it, and then you don't have to worry about it anymore.
And I know it sounds silly when we talk about, why wouldn't you want all these on your desktop? But as somebody who does this quite often, sometimes your desktop can just get filled with screenshots and you have a hard time figuring out, which screenshot you were going to use, which you didn't, which you've already put in, which you haven't. And to be able to bypass that whole step and to just take a screenshot and then paste it right into a Word document or a Pages document, that's a real time saver. And when we go back to talking about space, not having all of those separate screenshots stored on your desktop and get backed up and everything, that can be a space saver too.
Oh, that's a good point. What were you going to say, Greg?
And this is the same step as like Command Shift 4 is how you would take a screenshot, and you've just added in the control button also to put it right to clipboard.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's a nice tip.
Okay. Well, as we kind of finish things out, Greg, you had a book that you have listened to on Audible recently. If you folks have listened to previous podcasts, Dr. Lee and Dr. Betts and I are all kind of Audible fans and Audible members, and we do lots of listening to books as we drive and exercise and other things. What's a great book that you listened to recently, Greg?
It's called The Power of Habit, Why We Do What We Do in Life and Business. And just a recap of the book, just some quick review or main points were, habits and like routines, like to create a lasting change, it's more effective to target your habits. So if you already have a habit, you can look at changing that habit instead of trying to create a new one. And it's just replacing. I mean, it goes with what's the cue and why am I doing what I'm doing? Because there's some reward at the end, and you could define a reward as a multiple bank of things that basically it's whatever makes you feel good. So it's the reward there, and then it's that routine that makes it happen. So in this book, they talk a lot about forming habit loops and how sometimes your brain just goes into habit mode and you don't even really need to be thinking. They talk about everything from shopping to people with brain injuries, just coming home from work, and sometimes you get home and you're like, oh, it was just a habit I knew where to go. Or if you change jobs, like in a school district, you go to a different building, you may find yourself one morning going back in that habit loop and you drive to the wrong building. It's just because it was the habit loop that you have formed. So it was just very fascinating about how people learn, and a lot of the work that we do with positive behavior interventions and supports and that reward or token economy, how that can be good, and obviously you don't want to overdo that. And the same thing goes with just routines in class and how important those are. It was pretty fascinating. I mean, they went through a multitude of different angles and looking at different habits and why people do what they do, and pretty fascinating stuff.
And Greg, I got the Audible site pulled up here. Did you listen to this on audiobook, or did you read it in print, or did you do both?
I did read it. I did listen to it on Audible. I actually finished it a couple weeks ago while mowing the yard. That's pretty easy to do when I'm out there for a couple hours. So just fascinating. And it wasn't just, one lens. It was multitude of lenses and scientific research and just about the power of a habit and why people do what they do. I mean, all the way from shopping habits to gambling to, those positive workout routines, why people fail towards the end of the day or end of the week, and just very, very fascinating.
Yeah. When as a classroom teachers in a day in, day out, they have so many things, variables thrown at them from things that students do and, things that administrators ask them to do and things that come from parents and everything. They can kind of be cognitively overwhelmed. And there are times when we just have to fall back on our habits, the things that we automatically, value and automatically know how to do. That's what we fall back on. So that's a really, really interesting concept.
Yeah. Just the brain power it takes to be doing things all the time, and, the brain power that it doesn't take when you have a habit, because you just kind of go into, being automatic with it. And I still to this day call it Apple Shift 4. It's not the Apple button anymore, it's Command.
It should be the Apple button.
I agree. Apple, if you're listening to this, if you could please put the Apple back on the Command key, it would be pretty awesome. But
so if you folks are interested in Audible, not that we don't get any money from Audible or anything, we're just customers that have been users for a long time. You can get one book for free and with no cost to you to try out Audible. And that's how we all got hooked originally, was that one free book. So anything else, guys, before we go and wrap up this episode? We haven't done an episode since March, I think, as we're looking back. So it's been a long, dry spell, and hopefully this podcast has not been long and dry.